I recently did a video on Egyptian healing rods, and you'll actually see that a lot of the stone statues in Egypt, typically pharaohs and the priest caste, were always holding these, and these things are legit. They feel great. If I could hold them all day, I would. There's two things going on here with these rods. For starters, both of these are orgone generators.
Orgone generators are devices that come in all sorts of shapes. I make them in pyramids. The pyramid design is favored among many people, dating back to things they've read about the Giza pyramid and how ancient it is and how powerful it still is. Domes are quite powerful. In fact, you can make them in any shape as long as you put certain basic materials into them. Crystals, metals, and resin. Now, why do these things have to come together? The metal, for example, draws the resin. Since it's organic, it's from the earth, it's carbon-based, it sucks in the negative energy which is all around us. As soon as it hits the metal being inorganic reflects that energy. So now we have an attraction, expansion, repulsion at very high frequencies. Now this is chaotic energy. But when you put crystals inside this matrix, the crystals have the ability to transform this chaotic energy, smooth it, balance it out, and out comes a healing, life-enhancing energy from all organite, all orgone generators. All pets, all plants, everything that's alive in your environment wants more of this powerful, positive energy, life-enhancing energy, because we have so much negative energy. So the only way we can fight this battle is to surround ourselves with some orgone generators, cards, different energy devices to bring us back into balance. Once we are in balance, everything works better. You sleep better, you digest better, you eat better, you're happier, you're less frustrated, less depressed. Once you come into balance, the whole body works better. So that's what these things do. And in order to experience that, you have to experiment yourself. You have to have one or two of these around and have them around for a few days and just observe, watch what happens to you, because definitely all living things are going to react to this energy because you will come into balance. And that's the simplest way to explain these things. Now, the colors you use, the different substances you employ, don't matter that much. They're mostly for aesthetic reasons. But basically, you need the resin to hold it all together. You need the metals of some kind. It doesn't matter. It could be brass, it could be steel, it could be aluminum, it could be anything. As long as it's inorganic, it reflects it. And crystals, any kind of crystals. But most people begin with quartz crystal because it's a receiver and a sender as well. But I use amethyst, selenite, kyanite, black tourmaline, pyrite in most of my orgone
generators. It's an orgone generator because of the combination of elements that is actually inside of the rod. These aren't just hollow rods. You've got a copper rod, which is a metal. You've got a inside filled with crystal quartz, and also resin or an epoxy. The resin is the let me see. I'm not going to go into the dimensions of this, but when you can mix metals or certain metals with crystal quartz, and the resin is really important because as you kind of put everything together in this kind of resonated substance, well, it hardens And you don't have to put it in this shape. You can make a pyramid. You can do whatever you want with it. But when the resin hardens, it creates an effect on the crystal quartz, sparking that crystal a little bit through the piezoelectric process. What's great about these healing rods, and they were doing this back in the days of the Egyptians too. They sometimes would put shungite in the rods. They create their own rods. But there's two things going on with the rods. One thing is you're holding an orgone generator, which is powerful. You can literally feel this energy, and it's healing, and it's great. But you're also, when you use the rods the way I've shown in my videos or for healing, like you're supposed to, you hold the copper in the right hand. This is the positive. This is the negative. It's just like a battery. And when you do this and you're holding them just whatever way you want to, with your body and your consciousness, you're the third component that's going to allow for a electrical current to start running. Because this is an electrical device, what I'm basically holding here. So you have to be kind of careful with it. You're not going to shock yourself, kill yourself, but be aware of that. Your hands might start getting hot. I wouldn't be around a lot of computer equipment because it might mess with the fields. But for the sake of a meditation or for just some basic healing, you hold them and it's like, pow, and this electrical current's now running. They're galvanized. So the two processes here is that you have positive orgone energy, positive life force energy coming out of these things really strongly. Whoa, I can definitely feel them right now. Okay, start feeling my strong orgone energy coming out of it. This is incredibly healthy, really healing and good for your energy fields, your body, your mind, everything. But you're also introducing some form of electrolysis, which is also very healing. It's a suppressed form of medicine that used to be used a lot in our past, but it's been being kind of like just hidden from us. And that's a powerful device right there. When you get the two rods with the right combinations, you need 50% of your orgone generator to be a metal. Whether it's metal shavings, whether it's copper, whether it's zinc, that's your choice. The other 50% minimum has to be the resin. And the third component is stone or crystal, or a combination of the two. But those three things, the metal, the resin, and the stone and crystal, will create an orgone generator. These things are so powerful, you can just throw like a little small one at a 5G tower and it'll just transmute all of that negative, unhealthy, dead energy. And it just clears the energy. Things start growing. These are the kind of effects that this positive type of energy has. So I use them all the time. I love them. I know as I've been researching it, there's all kinds of things you can do with rods, especially when they're galvanized. What you're basically seeing when I have the rods like that is you're seeing a galvanic cell. And I don't have everything to explain that very well, but basically, yeah, it's like you become an electrical device. There's electricity running through you, the cathode, the anode, positive, the negative. It also balances feminine, masculine, and it's just a great tool. I just wanted to show you guys what it is and what's kind of going on there. So I was watching this show on YouTube called The Metaphysical, and one of the guys on there wanted to try out the Orgone generators, and he, bought a bunch of materials to make a bunch of it in his garage. And he's a person who does remote viewing. But he had heard, like, people were always telling stories about when they would make a bunch of it, like, helicopters would show up. And believe it or not, he had a helicopter show up. It wasn't a black one, but, it was there, and it was trying to check out what's going on. And later, he had his team remote view that scenario, and he looked into it. And basically, he found out that just by having, like, a large portion of the materials and the actual Orgone generators created, it basically had caused a disturbance, or he put a literal hole in the 5G suppression control grid that they have on this planet for, I would probably call it the 3D matrix also, but that type of artificial grid energy specifically is what I'm talking about. Not the cellular capabilities, but that additional grid that's negative. It transmutes that stuff like, I can't even give you an example. It's literally the most powerfulest thing I've seen and experienced. In all honesty, if like 20 people in each city or all the major cities on the planet went out and just threw a couple of those next to, each cell towers or 5G towers, it would bring down the whole 3D matrix and or 5G artificial suppression grid. It would bring the whole grid down. Like literally, we could do that. I'm not saying to do it. I'm saying that's how powerful this stuff is. There's a couple links I have for this the clip of the video I showed earlier. That guy makes Orgone generators, and he also makes these things called I forgot what he calls them, but he makes a bunch of them, and he just like throws them when he sees like 5G towers or just certain places. I mean, they're biodegradable and they're great for the environment, so you're not really hurting anything if you want to leave them in nature. He puts some in sewers. He just does what he wants to, but I'm just leaving some ideas here. If you guys want to do that, these things are literally that powerful. They heal on the etheric side of your body and your subtle energy bodies. And also, I mean, that's where all disease kind of forms anyway. It's always an energetic problem. So this stuff is literally that powerful, and I just wanted to make a video to show people what it looks like, and totally, recommend it.